Part 1. Don't look, and they told us not to go past the rusted gate. Every kid in our town heard the warning, passed down like bedtime prayers. Don't go near the old Crawford well after dark. Don't follow the whispers. Don't look in. But warnings lose their edge when you're 16 and high on Mountain Dew and dares. It started one summer night when 5 of us, me, my cousin Jake, Lacey, Trey, and Bree, were bored enough to ignore decades of small-town superstition. We had flashlights, a Bluetooth speaker, and that teenage feeling of invincibility. What could possibly happen? The well was deeper in the woods than I remembered. Overgrown trails scratched our legs. The flashlight beams bounced against mossy trees and broken stones until we saw it, a crumbling stone ring surrounded by scorched grass. It looked dead. Wrong. Jake, ever the idiot, laughed and said, "Is this it? This is the haunted well. Looks like a garden project that got abandoned." He chucked a rock down the shaft. No sound, just silence. Lacey leaned forward, her light tracing the well's inner stones. "I don't like this," she whispered. "There's something off." "Where's the echo?" That's when we heard it faint, like the breeze whispering through a crack in the world. "Come closer." I froze. So did everyone else. "Did you hear that?" Bree asked, already stepping back. "It's the wind," Trey said, voice unconvincing. But we knew it wasn't. It was a voice low and croaking, not quite male or female, just dry. Jake, grinning like a fool, took his phone out and started recording. "Let's make a TikTok. #WhisperWell challenge." He stepped up to the lip and shouted, "Hey ghosts, show us something cool." That's when the ground trembled, subtle, like a breath, and from deep inside the well, we heard a second whisper. This one louder. "Don't look in." We ran. Not far, just a few yards back. Heart pounding, breath short. Lacey was crying. Trey kept saying, "It's a prank. It's got to be someone screwing with us." But there was no one out there. No one should have been down there either. But Jake didn't follow us. He was still by the well, still filming. Then he looked in. We didn't see it happen. We just heard him scream. Not like pain, like pure madness. Part 2, Jake wasn't Jake. Jake's scream echoed through the forest like a shotgun blast, loud, sudden, and blood-curdling. It wasn't just fear. It was raw, primal, like something had reached down into his chest and pulled out his sanity with a single breath. We froze. None of us moved for a second. Then Bree snapped into motion and ran back toward the well, yelling his name. I wasn't far behind. The others followed, hesitant, but scared to be left alone in the dark. Jake was on his knees by the edge of the well, breathing hard. His phone was still in his hand, the flashlight still on, angled weirdly, pointing off into the woods. His body was shaking, not trembling, shaking like he'd been electrocuted. "Jake." I dropped down beside him. "Are you okay?" He didn't answer, just stare at the stones around a well, his pupils wide and unfocused. His lips were moving, but no sound came out. Lacey crouched next to me, her voice a frantic whisper. "What happened? Did he fall in? Is he hurt?" "No," I said, he's not bleeding." That's when I looked him in the eye. I don't know how to explain it. Something was off, wrong in a way that didn't make sense. His eyes were too wide, too dark. His skin was pale, like all the color had drained from it. But it wasn't just physical. It felt like something else was looking out of him. Something pretending to be Jake. And then he spoke. "They're not down there anymore." His voice was flat, lifeless, like a robot reading from a script. "What?" Trey asked, backing up. "They left," Jake said again. "The well is empty now." But they needed a way out. Bree's mouth hung open. "What the hell are you talking about?" Jake slowly turned his head to look at her. "It's fine now. We can go home." But no one moved. We just stared at him. The forest was too quiet. The air felt heavier, like something was watching us from every direction. "Jake," I said, "you're scaring us." He smiled, not his usual lopsided grin, but something cold and sharp, like a mask of a smile. I said, "It's fine," he repeated. "We're done here." And then he stood up, wiped his hands on his jeans, and started walking toward the trail like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just screamed like a man possessed. We followed. What else could we do? Back at my house, we sat in the garage with the door halfway open, letting in the humid summer air. No one wanted to be inside. It felt too closed in, too vulnerable. Jake didn't say much after that. He just stared at the floor, tapping his fingers in a slow rhythm. 3 taps, pause. 3 taps, pause. Over and over. I asked if he wanted water. He didn't respond. Trey finally broke the silence. Guys, I think he's been drugged. By who? Lacey snapped. The ghost of Crawford. You think some dead guy just slipped him a roofie down the well? Bree shushed her. Don't joke. But she was right to be scared. We all were. Because Jake wasn't acting like Jake. His movements were off. Robotic. And when we checked his phone, the last video he recorded was gone. Not deleted, gone. No trace of it. No thumbnail. No corrupted file. Just missing like it never existed. Lacey swore he had uploaded it to his story. But now, nothing. Not even a notification that it had been removed. That night, we didn't sleep. We stayed in the garage with the lights on, every shadow making us jump. Jake sat in the corner, staring at nothing. Still tapping. 3 taps. Pause. 3 taps. Pause. The next morning, Jake was gone. Not gone like he left early. Gone like he was never there. His shoes were gone, sure. But so was his backpack. His keys. Even his scent, that Axe body spray he always used too much of, was just gone. I called his mom. She said he never came home. That's when the messages started. Text from Jake's number. Only they weren't from him. Jake, it's okay now. You don't have to worry. Jake, they're not mad. Jake, it's quieter now. Isn't that better? Jake, don't go back. We didn't reply. The last text came at 3:07 a.m. Jake, tell him not to listen. The well is hungry again. Then his number disconnected. The next few days were a blur. We told the police he was missing, but they treated it like he ran away. A teenager vanishing during summer break. Happens all the time, apparently. But we knew the truth. Something came out of that well. Something climbed up when Jake looked in. And Jake? Jake never climbed back out. He was just a vessel. We didn't talk to each other much after that. The group kind of dissolved. Everyone trying to forget. Everyone trying to pretend it didn't happen. But I couldn't. Not with the dreams. Not with the whispers that came at night, even when my windows were closed. Part 3. The well is still whispering. I try to forget. Really, I did. I deleted Jake's number. Blocked him. Turned off all notifications. I stopped talking to Lacey, Bree, and Trey. They didn't reach out either, which suited me fine. We were all just holding our breath, waiting for something to end. Or maybe hoping it never would. But the dreams came anyway. Not every night. Just enough to make me question my sanity. I'd see Jake standing at the edge of the well, his face blank, his hands twitching in that same rhythm. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. Top, top, top. Pause. Then he'd look over his shoulder at me and say something I could never quite hear. Like his lips moved out of sync with the sound. Like whatever voice came out wasn't human. The worst part? When I'd wake up, the rhythm would still be there. Somewhere in my room, soft tapping. Too soft to find. Too loud to ignore. It had been 3 weeks when the call came. From Bree. I hesitated before answering, staring at her name like it was a warning. Hey, she said, her voice flat. Tired. You okay? No, she said. Something's wrong with Trey. That got my attention. He's been hearing things, she continued. Whispers. At night. In the walls. In the vents. He swears he saw Jake outside his window yesterday. Just standing there in the rain. I didn't know what to say. Then she whispered, I think we brought something back with us. We met that night. All of us except Jake. At Lacey's place, the only one with parents out of town. Trey looked like hell. Pale. Eyes sunken. Jumpy as a rabbit. He flinched every time someone coughed or a floorboard creaked. I'm serious, he said. He was there. I swear to God. No one believes you didn't see something, Lacey said, softer than I'd ever heard her speak. We just, we don't know what it was. Trey shook his head. It was Jake. But it wasn't Jake. Then he turned to me. You saw it too. That night. Don't lie. I nodded slowly. I know. He changed after the well. Something came back with him. Lacey exhaled sharply, looking down. Then what do we do? There was silence. Thick and heavy. Then Bree said, we go back. No way, Trey barked. Are you insane? That's what it wants. She shrugged. Maybe. But it already has us. Jake didn't disappear. He became something. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather face it head-on than sit here waiting for the next nightmare. None of us wanted to agree. But deep down, we knew we had to. We went back the next night. The air was thicker than I remembered. The trees pressed in tighter, like the forest knew. The path to the well seemed shorter this time, like it wanted us there faster. When we reached the clearing, something was waiting for us. It wasn't Jake. It was the idea of Jake. A shadow standing by the well, faceless, mouth stretched wide in a silent scream. Long arms dangling too low, like its bones were bending the wrong way. And it was tapping. Tap, tap, tap. Pause. I almost ran. My legs twitched. But Bree stepped forward. We know what you are, she said. We know you took him. The shadow twitched. Its mouth widened. Then it spoke, but not in Jake's voice. In all of our voices. Overlapping. Echoing. He asked to be seen. He leaned too close. He opened the door. Trey screamed. Give him back. Silence. Then, he is the door now. The ground beneath our feet vibrated, like a growl deep in the earth. The stones around the well shifted, groaning. A black mist rose from the mouth, reaching out toward us like fingers. We need to go, I whispered. Bree held her ground. Not yet. The mist brushed her face. Her eyes rolled back for a second, then snapped open. It wants more, she said. What? Another one. It's hungry again. We backed up as the shadow began to move, slithering toward us, stretching unnaturally. And then Bree did something I still don't understand. She turned and ran toward the well. No, I shouted. But she didn't stop. She jumped into the mist, into the mouth. The shadow froze. Then it vanished, sucked downward like smoke into a vacuum. The well was still again. It's been a year. Jake never came back. Neither did Bree. Trey moved away. So did Lacey. We don't talk anymore.